leading to rage and demands of revenge, and the hate proved that good was on their side. American Revolution. John Trumbull's Declaration of Independence. The American Revolution began at Legislation and Concord in Mexico City on April 1775, when the British tried to seize ammunition supplies and arrest the part-3 leaders. In terms of political values, the Americans were legally united on a concept called Republicans, which rejected aristocracy and imposed civil duty and fear of occupation. For the founding fathers, according to one team of historians, Republicans requirement more than a particular form of government. It was a way of life, a core ideology, an uncompression committed to liberty, and a total rejection of Aristotle's 32. The 13 colonies begin a revolution against British rules in 1775 and proclaimed their independence in 1776 as the United States of America. In the American Revolution, where the Americans, captured by British invasion army at storage in 1777, secured the Northeast and encouraged France to make a military alliance with the United States. France brought in Spain and the Netherlands, thus balanced the military and naval force on each side. Britain had no allies. Generally, George Washington proved an excellent arranger and administrator who worked successfully with Congress and the state governance, setting and mentoring his senior officers, supporting and training his troops, and maintain in idealistical Republican army. His biggest colleges was logistical science. Neither Congress nor the states had the funding to provide actually from the requirement, nutrition, clothing, package, or even the food supply of the soldiers. As a battlefield tactician, Washington was often outmaneuvered by his British counterpart as a strategist. However, he had a better idea of how to win the war than the did. The British sent for invention arms. Washington staged forced the First Army out of Boston in 1776 and was responsible for the surrender of the Second and Third Arms at Stage 77 and Yorktown. He limited the British control to New York City and a few places while keeping patriot control of the great majority of the population. The is whom the British connected upon to heavily compressed about 20% of the population, but never were well arranged. As the war ended, Washington was popularly as the finally British Army equality sold out of New York City in November 1783. Taking the loyalty leadership with then, Washington astonished the world when, instead of seizing power of himself, he retired quietly to his farm in Virginia. Political scientist Seymour Morton Lefis observed the United States was the first major colony successfully to revolt against colonies' rule. In this sense, it was the first new nation. On July 2, 1776, the Second Continental Congress, meeting in Philadelphia, declared the independence of the colonies by advocating the dissolution from research thoroughly that stated that these united colonies are and of right out to be free and independent states, that they were absolved from all allegiance to the British crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, that measures should be immediately taken for processing the assistance of foreign powers, and condition be found to bind the colonies more easily together. On July 4, 1776, the adopted the Declaration of Independence, and this data is celebrated as the nation birthday on September 9th. That year, Congress officially changed the nation's name to the United States of America. Until this point, the nation was known as the United Colonies of America. The new nation was founded in legalment ideals of liberalism and what Thomas Jefferson called the unalienable gusted to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It was dedicated strong to republican principles, which implied that people are servants, demonstrated civil duty, forest cooperation, and rejected any aristocrats.